This is the tragic true life story of Petty Officer First Class Kevin J. Frank. It was late on Friday, March 8, 2002. A late winter storm was producing strong winds across much of the United States eastern coastline. It was a balmy South Carolina night, and two civilian workers on a Marine Corps project prepared for takeoff with wind gusts of up to 46 miles an hour or 40 knots recorded near Beaufort, South Carolina, and in the Atlantic Ocean at buoy 41008. The pilot, Mr. Tim Potts, is carrying an electronics technician for Northrop Grumman, Mr. Keith Laney, to conduct routine maintenance. Their Eurocopter A355 took off into the dark, windy night toward a U.S. Navy R2 tower, an offshore platform about 30 miles southeast of Savannah in the Atlantic Ocean. On the same night, Marine Corps helicopter crew carrying Petty Officer First Class Kevin Frank and 4 other crew took off from Marine Corps Air Station Beaufort, South Carolina in an HH-46 Delta C Knight. This is the double rotor helicopter the Marines have used for decades. While conducting their routine training exercises, the Marine crew receive a distress call. It is now after midnight and it's Saturday morning. This is the true life tragic story of Petty Officer First Class Kevin J. Frank, who lost his life during the execution of a SAR mission. A colleague of Mr. Keith Laney was performing her duties on the offshore platform when she stated she heard the pilot radio his approach at about 8 p.m. In the darkness, battling the strong wind conditions, the pilot, Mr. Tim Potts, struggled to locate the platform. It was dark and disorienting, and then he felt a jarring impact. Standing on the platform, Mr. Laney's colleague stated she heard an unrecognizable sound and what sounded like bubbles, and then she saw it, the light under the water, and realized the helicopter had gone down. She ran to the radio room and immediately called her home base in Beaufort, South Carolina, and her colleague, Mr. Sherman Mitchell, who called the U.S. Coast Guard for help. She then ran back out on the platform, where she could hear the pilot, Mr. Tim Potts, yelling for help in the water. She reported throwing him a life preserver, which she stated Mr. Potts was able to put on. In the dark, rough Atlantic Ocean, Mr. Tim Potts hung on with everything he had while he waited for the rescue helicopter. But he couldn't see his passenger, Mr. Keith Laney, anywhere. Aboard the HH-46 helicopter, they receive a call for aid from the Coast Guard, reporting a civilian helicopter downed. The pilot had been recovered from the water and transported to a hospital, but the Coast Guard helicopter needed aid in searching for the passenger, Mr. Keith Laney. The HH-46 helicopter carrying Petty Officer First Class Kevin Frank and the rest of the Marine crew immediately headed for the crash scene. Petty Officer First Class Kevin Frank, a highly trained Navy professional of 21 years. A hospital corpsman who became aircrew certified and then went through rescue swimmer school, one of the most challenging rates in the entire military. The United States Navy and Coast Guard's aviation rescue swimmer air community operates under a motto that is both a promise and a statement of incredible risk, so others may live. This motto defines a profession where individuals willingly deploy from helicopters into raging seas and extreme conditions to save lives, a position he had trained for and served in for 16 years. Frank's 21-year service was marked by consistent, meritorious performance, as evidenced by his official awards. These awards paint a picture of a sailor who not only performed his duties reliably, but also participated in significant high-level operations. Here are the known awards and commendations of Hospital Corpsman First Class Kevin J. Frank. The Navy and Marine Corps Commendation Medal. This is a significant commendation awarded for meritorious service or specific heroic action. It indicates service performed well above standard expectations. He also received the Navy Unit Commendation, awarded to a specific unit for outstanding heroism in action or extremely meritorious service, demonstrating the high caliber units Petty Officer Frank served with. The Meritorious Unit Commendation, a unit level award for valorous or meritorious achievement. The U.S. Coast Guard Meritorious Unit Commendation with Operational Device. This is a highly revealing award. It confirms his participation in a joint operation with the U.S. Coast Guard. The operational device, or the operational O, specifically indicates he was on scene participating in the operation, reinforcing his identity as a career search and rescue specialist long before the 2002 mission. 5 Navy Good Conduct Medals awarded for an enlisted sailor's clean record of conduct and faithful service. Receiving 5 of these medals aligns perfectly with a 21-year career and demonstrates a consistent, professional, and reliable service record. His official rate and qualifications were HM1, NAC, FMS, and are very key to understanding his career and his presence on this fatal flight. HM1 is a Hospital Corpsman First Class, the pay grade of E6. This is a senior non-commissioned officer position in the Navy's most decorated rate. FMS, Fleet Marine Force. This is a coveted device earned by Navy hospital corpsmen who complete rigorous Marine Corps combat training, qualifying them to be operationally embedded with Marine units. This FMF qualification explains why a Navy sailor was a long-serving, integral part of a Marine Corps air station. NAC, Naval Air Crewman. This is not an honorary title, but a demanding, specialized qualification. It signifies that Frank was a fully trained and integrated member of the helicopter's flight crew, responsible for in-flight operations and rescue procedures. A U.S. Navy file photo from March 15, 2002 identifies him as a rescue swimmer, a highly strenuous role within the Navy air crewman specialty. These quals placed Petty Officer Frank at the rare intersection of Navy medicine, naval aviation, and Marine Corps operations. He was not a passenger on this flight. He was an integral part and essential member of the aircrew, performing the SAR mission he had trained for and executed for 16 years. Aboard the helicopter, Petty Officer Frank would have begun going into search and rescue operations. With Petty Officer Frank's years of experience, his crew would have been prepping to assist the Coast Guard, even if they required a rescue swimmer to be deployed. The helicopter flew into the dark, windy night. The waning crescent moon provided little light. The horizon would have been barely visible. Only the white caps were visible from the lights projecting down from the helicopter. As Petty Officer Frank's crew arrived on scene, they immediately began assessing the situation and coordinating with the Coast Guard helicopter in a search pattern, looking for the passenger, Mr. Laney, who was still in the water. The search continued for over an hour when all of a sudden the helicopter lost power and veered to one side. The pilot immediately looked at his gauges and saw the fuel gauge rapidly declining. He had no time to execute emergency procedures as he lost all fuel to one engine. He commanded over the intercom system, "Brace for impact," as the large helicopter crashed into the waves. The crew was trained for this situation, and they immediately followed egress procedures. Waiting for the helicopter to completely rotate upside down and submerge the rotor blades, then the pilot, the co-pilot, and the crew began to egress through the windows and the cargo door and the personnel door into the dark, windy night with the sea state of 1 to 2 and waves crashing. 1, 2 crew members come to the surface of the ocean, waves pounding. A 3rd and 4th crew member burst up through the waves, catching their breaths and immediately calling out a head count. When they didn't hear a 5th person, they began looking around for their crewmate, but they couldn't see him. He wasn't anywhere to be found. Several of the crew submerged to try to look for him, but as the helicopter sank into the darkness, Petty Officer Frank was nowhere to be found. The following day, Navy divers recovered the body of Petty Officer Kevin J. Frank at the bottom of the ocean, 90 feet below the surface, just outside the helicopter. Petty Officer First Class Kevin J. Frank is memorialized at Marine Corps Air Station Beaufort in South Carolina, where a HH-46 static display sits just inside the military base gates as you enter. Here I'd like to show you the actual memorial that is dedicated at Marine Corps Air Station Beaufort in South Carolina. This is a replica of the actual helicopter. And this is a real H-46. This isn't like a model. This is the actual airframe. And it's in a dedicated memorial to Petty Officer Frank. And if you look real close right here, it's got his aircrew wings and his name here, along with the, I believe this is the Fleet Marine Corps symbol here. I just also want to mention this image here is by Lance Corporal Samantha Foster, and she was stationed at Marine Corps Air Station Beaufort at the time of this image, and I believe this was taken in 2015 or 13. Let me see here. Yes, 2015 during the well, I guess it wasn't during, it would have been after, 2 years after the actual dedication. This story is based on the true life events recorded in official and public documents. The story is reconstructed by me using all available evidence and the experience of myself, air rescue vet. I have over 500 hours of aviation search and rescue experience. If this story had any value for you, please like and subscribe. It really helps support what I am trying to create. My goal is to bring you true life stories of rescues, be one of my first 1,000 subscribers, and as I grow, I'd like to add more and more features to my videos, bringing better produced videos and reconstructed stories of true life SAR.